Alright, there was a bunch of stuff I want to talk about in that first episode we just got of Vikings because the season just rocked in, but I'll cover that in my review. For now, we're going to cover the preview for the next episode and all the really cool things we begin to see there as the plot begins to ramp up immensely.
I have chosen this woman to be my new wife.
You can't produce children. By your blood, I will bear you a child.
So we've already seen that Freya is quite a capable and confident woman, and it's clear that she's going to be very important for the entirety of this season. With Lagertha gone, Astrid dead, Torvi gone, Margaret put down her status with Uber leaving, this has left a giant power gap in KATTEGAT as these strong women aren't there anymore, and Freya has swooped in really fast at Ivar's side and really put herself as the queen of KATTEGAT. This position seems to be almost cursed, as it seems everyone who gets that position quickly faces huge amount of opposition, either gets killed or thrown out. So it wouldn't surprise me if Freya ends up having a lot of opposition against people like a Margaret, who we can already see starting to make things happen. Now Margaret is a shit stirrer who's crazy and getting more insane, and for a long time I think she's been quite irrelevant on the show, as she's just been getting in the way of the characters we enjoy. But now she's going to do her bitchy gossiping against characters we don't really enjoy. Firstly, we see her next to Hvitserk, which makes sense. She has to kind of get herself more close to him because Uber's left and decided to choose Torvi anyway. This could actually work to her advantage because he's not as strong as a character as Uber and could be manipulated a lot more easier. But either way, she's not really focusing on him, she's focusing on creating gossip and rumors about Freya and Ivar. So we clearly see that Freya has promised Ivar a child, something he cannot do, and Margaret knows it. She comes up with quite a clever scheme to try and get around this, by finding some random guy and getting him to impregnate her and then passing that child off as Ivar's. If I had to guess, this guy's probably not going to live very long after this small encounter here, because she doesn't want a talking mouth, so this could be a very pleasurable, then quick end for him. But the fact that she did promise Ivar a child, something he really, really wants and hates that he can't get, is probably the main reason he actually fully brought her on as queen, and the only reason she maintains that position. So if Margaret exposes that, if that gets uncovered, then she will die and be thrown to the curve very quickly. On top of all of this, we have King Harald, who does not like the fact that someone else is getting power. Not only does having Freya be queen make another person in his way to becoming king of all Norway, but if she actually does have a son that she can claim as Ivar's, it gets in the way for his claim. Harald is okay with Ivar being king because he can't carry on his line and he can't interfere with the rule of his children down the line, Harald's children. So if Margaret gets in his ear telling him that this child that Freya says she's carrying is not Ivar's, then he has a big motivation to expose that and get rid of her. So already in KATTEGAT we're going to have scheming, plots, promises, betrayals, everything.
We have fought against you and now we shall fight together.
They want to kill him.
Who do they want to kill?
They want to kill the king.
So the domestic politics and political infighting of KATTEGAT is increasing, and the same is happening in England. This episode is clearly going to be the calm before the storm, where people start sorting out their alliances, where they stand with each other, and trying to grab power in this little bit of peace. Hickman is back at Alfred's side, and Lagertha's welcome to England wasn't quite as warm as she would like. But we see her free on her own horse, being able to ride around, cleaned up, with new clothes, in the open, so she's gained the trust of Alfred. He's clearly made his offer, and at least Lagertha has accepted for now. And it seems like an opportunity to test their loyalty for Alfred has already arisen, as Hickman discovers a plot to assassinate the king. Now helping Alfred would be in their best interest, one because he was the one that gave them amnesty, and there's no reason after power changes, after he dies, that they will continue to give them that. And two, the decision to spare them and bring them into the fold was probably the most controversial thing he's done in his reign, and the reason that people are actually starting to question him and trying to remove him. Many see Aethelred as an easier and better king for the realm, and this decision of helping Vikings, Northmen, Danes, the people who have been a plague on their society for such a long time, is just confirming their thoughts even more. So it'll be interesting to see how Hickman and Lagertha help him expose this plot, protect him, or whatever, because it seems like they're already going to have a lot of problems of their own from this next bit we see in this preview.
And you saw them kissing?
Yes, your grace.
I
servant's true bishop, not you.
So already the entire relationship between Hickman and Lagertha has already been exposed by at least these people. And it confirms our suspicions that it's going to be religious differences that really matters in this relationship. The church doesn't want their leading bishop, the one next to the king, to be involved with heathens and these Northmen. And the fact that they don't really expose this straight away to the king and everyone and try to get them killed shows me that they don't plan to try and go the violent route with this to try and end or break the relationship. More likely, this particular priest will use this as leverage to try and get Hickman to step down as head of the church or the person by Alfred's side so he can take that role.
Yes, Your Grace. Making the beast with two backs.
Who do they want to kill?
They want to kill the king.
I am Bishop of Sherborne and will remain so, by God's good grace.
They'll deal with the affair or whatever at the side as long as he's not in charge. So this little meeting we see in a church here could quite easily be him confronting about it, asking him to stop the relationship, or at least step down from his position. Now Hickman's always been more of a fighter than a priest, so he doesn't take this lying down and he goes the violent route real quick. Now if I had to guess, this is going to escalate quite quickly from him threatening to grabbing him, and then the priest will be like, "You wouldn't dare hurt me in a church." And then he stabs him to death like we saw in the trailer here. Because, of course, Hickman would kill him in a church. He doesn't care. He's in love. So already the toll on his relationship is making him kill in the house of God. There's many loose ends that could backfire on Hickman and Lagertha down the line. One, there's a dead body and blood everyone in the church. And two, there's this guy that saw the whole thing, them kissing, and actually reported it in the first place. They may not know about him, they may not suspect him. They don't know what he looks like or where he is, and so he'll keep this information and buy his time, because he knows that if he tries to expose it too quickly, Hickman will come for him and kill him like he did the first guy. And so all this ties back to the assassination plot against the king. If Hickman's tied up trying to deal with these issues this episode, it's possible he doesn't have time or the proper information to try and stop the assassination attempt on the king or what's happening there. Personally, it would be better if Lagertha or Uber or one of the Vikings proved themselves by saving Alfred or exposing this plot to him. This could be the thing that Uber steps up and does to prove himself to Alfred and form that relationship we see bonding from the trailers. So that could happen this episode or possibly the next episode, but definitely the foundations for that is going to be built up here and now.
You are a god.
She's insane. She's going to kill all of us. There's no reason to stay here. Unless you plan to kill me and make yourself king of KATTEGAT.
No, I don't want the mess.
If you kill Iva, then I will be queen.
Now this entire section here is just them being really cheeky with the trailer. They clearly are building up this could-be conflict between Harold and Iva, and we know Margaret is saying these things about Iva and Freydis, and so they put this shot of her coming and crying and saying you need to kill him, trying to make it look like she's going to Harold, when clearly that's Hvitserk. She's definitely leaning more on him now and using that bond she had with him and trying to make him step up and take a very big role by killing Iva, taking KATTEGAT for his own, and her as queen at his side. And if that wasn't cheeky enough, they even added this shot here of Iva getting stabbed in the chest, right in the heart, by a woman at his side, trying to trick us into thinking that this is Margaret, but we know from like the French trailer that I broke down that this is actually Freydis, his new queen. So at first I was like, damn, from that beginning part when he was saying that she's crazy, she's going to kill them all, and if that is her stabbing her like we saw in the French trailer, then that could be really big foreshadowing, and they're dropping mad bombs in this preview. But like I said in the French trailer, I don't think this is actually happening. I think it's more like a dream or a vision of some kind, not actually him getting stabbed. I'll leave a link to that breakdown if you want to see my full explanation around that. So overall, this preview shows us that there's going to be power struggles all around in KATTEGAT, in England, everywhere. This season has tons of battle and conflict to come, but they're going to slowly grind into that rather than exposing us to it straight away. We're going to see the foundations build up, we're going to see how the characters interact and play out, they'll choose their sides, and then they'll go head to head. So it's possible I missed something in this breakdown, but luckily Azora Hype on his channel will be doing a breakdown of episode 12 preview as well as a review for the episode we just got. So both our channels you'll find tons of Vikings content, all the things you want to see, and if we've missed anything together collectively, then you can tell us about it in the comment section below. I love to hear your guys' feedback. Ready? Skull!